OK Studio is a collective. We're a group of 9 friends. We're furniture designers and product designers. We met while studying at the Royal College of Art. We were studying on the Design Products course, which is under Ron Arad. And yeah, we graduated and we were friends obviously, and we decided to make a studio together. It's not a brand, it's not a design studio like other design studios, it's really just a collective. So we've been invited to do this exhibition by our tutor, who's the curator here, and he thought it was interesting to show what happens in London to young people, young creative people, and we're quite a good example of one model of how you can exist without becoming a company or a brand.
When OK Studio was founded, Yael and myself been in China and for a project with a friend Andrew, and when we came back last July we joined the studio. I'm more into focus at how things are actually being used. So for instance, in the stack drawers that I did, or pivot, you can really see the new way of actually solving function. Where Yael is interested in how can we use really simple material and technology in order to create a fascinating shape object. So, because we usually don't use expensive material, expensive technology, like we don't really into that. We really want to create interesting stuff out of really straightforward, simple objects.
I joined also at the beginning, from now it's 2 years ago. So we're sharing a space, but it's more kind of about the ability to have a workshop and to keep producing your own work. So, I mean, some of us work also freelance on the side, so I also do work for, I used to work for L'Ultimo Grito, and also now I do some work for Nigel Coates, and then this is kind of how I fund. So this is one of my projects here, which is called Bish Bosh. It's approached as a building kit, so it's kind of the idea that you can make everything using this plate, and it's got the 90 degree, and also here it can do the 45 degree connection, and then also the 90 degree using a vertical hole. So I mean, this is just kind of a suggestion of, it's a bit like a Meccano approach.
Yeah, that's right. What we're doing is taking felt and we mold it into 3-dimensional shape. We cover resin at the back, so it looks really rough, and the front stay soft. And we're really trying to play around with this contrast of the soft and the roughness. And basically what you can do is a different length benches or this chair, and it's exactly the same shape. So for us it's really the beginning of this project, and we still don't know where we're gonna take it.
I was interested in making an adjustable mirror, and when I was working on just simply on the computer, moving shapes around, I was interested that the lines hanging the mirror always form a perfect tangent to the circle. So on the outside of the mirror there's a groove running around it, and the circle actually sits inside the geometry of the arrangement.
Then it's also the idea that this all splits into five different stools, and I quite like the idea that you can start, you know, playing and making patterns with these, which is quite nice.
Just when we're playing around with this different size of furniture for different size of people, because when you go buy a shirt, it's quite common, everyone knows his own size, small, medium, large. But when it comes to furniture, all of them are the same size for different people. So we're kind of trying to experiment around this idea. This one, which is folded veneer, the veneer that's laminated on paper with the latex, so it has a little bit of flexibility. What we're doing is we create the pattern on the veneer, we fold it, and then we fill it with foam from the bottom. Oops! from the bottom, you can see this. And the foam creates all those wrinkles in the wood. And it's not really common to see this kind of three-dimensional shapes being made in wood.
And while I was making these pieces, I was using small off-cut pieces of wood on the inside of the circle, and it became interesting that when trying to cut the circle, it was actually quite difficult because there was no centre point anymore. And I think it's quite interesting visually and physically that if you don't have a centre, you can't define a perimeter. And I used that to create these small tables, first of all. And these are using local wood from local hardware shops, just from bins and just the rubbish from local shops that normally wouldn't get used, and actually turning that inside out into the middle of the circle. And that's like a visual idea, and then I thought it could be quite interesting to apply it to this the dining table. If you open it again, that's the dining. It can actually go up to nearly 4 meters, so depending on how big you want it, you could put in different size slats. So, and then the pieces from the outside of the table are used to actually create the leaves on the inside of the table. Maybe it's about fracturing the world around us and actually seeing if there's another world inside this. I guess I'm generally dissatisfied with the world that's around me, and I like to think that there's, if I chop it up and maybe there's something else, another kind of world, it says a lot about who I am.